Okay. Start draft. Okay. Liam, your mic okay? Liam? Liam? Mr. Liam, you there? Alright. Anyway, looks like the first ban for DET1 side is the Jin. Hyperint banning the Poppy. These bans are a little bit unusual. It's not bans you would normally see. Expected link is in chat, by the way, Liam.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, these are bans you don't normally see. These are pretty unconventional bans. Alright, so. Alright, the Seraphine ban on the red side. It's pretty normal. Okay. Right, can you see the bans now?
Yeah, I can.
Alright, nice. So, we got the Seraphine ban, the Poppy ban. Poppy is not that normal. Morgana on blue side, the Jin and the Jinx. A little bit of an unusual patch of bans.
I mean, I'm gathering that buff Poppy. That must be the reason for the Poppy ban.
Wait, did you get buffed?
No, take a look. Actual name, buff Poppy.
Oh, alright, that's, yeah, maybe one trick. Diana ban as well. Pretty strong jungler at the moment, with Jin, Morgana, and Jinx on the other side. The Jinx is a pretty normal ban. Morgana, not so much, but it's a flex pick and kind of annoying to play against. The Jin...
Hecarim got let through.
True, the Hecarim did
Quite
get let
surprising.
through. And so the Karma, which is first picked. There it is, the Karma. First
I'm
pick
surprised
for...
if Hecarim Ori doesn't come out.
True, for blue team
Simple
now.
strong.
Hyperint can pick stuff like the Hecarim Ori. They can pick... If they have a prio on an AD carry pick that they want, they can pick that too.
Kaiser's always a good one.
Kai is always a good one. Yeah, but that's the Hecarim, maybe the Hecarim and the Orianna.
I mean, all jungles are mostly open, which have been in the jungle man for so long.
True, the Volibear, the Olaf, the Skarner, the Lilia, they're all open. Looks like we're going to be seeing the Hecarim. I think Orianna is probably a safe pick here. They might be looking for maybe Kai'Sa, maybe a support.
I mean, Thresh is still open, and I believe that is a busted support right now.
True.
S tier, definitely. So we'll see what they pick.
Normally you would pick jungle with either support or AD carry, unless you want an Orianna. Then you can just pick it now because she's pretty blind pickable into everything.
I would really agree with a Thresh pick here. But Kaiser's good as well.
Yeah, Kai'Sa. I mean, that makes sense. Alright, Heka, Kai'Sa, pretty standard picks all around.
Olaf's open. That could be a good choice for the Karma.
True. The Olaf needs an enchanter, but looks like maybe they might be going for the Graves. Now the Graves is a counter into the Hecarim, and Graves with an enchanter, aka an enabler, with him is pretty scary. So I'm excited to see if they do look in the Graves, and they do look in the Graves. Alright, so they seem to be counter picking this Hecarim. What do you think they're gonna pick here last?
For me, I'm not too sure yet. I would mostly like to see maybe their ADC come out, because so many bans have come through already. Because they don't want to open their hand up too much for if it's going support mid or top, so it allows them to keep it in their playbook.
Now, a good amount of AD carries got banned. The Seraphine got banned, so no Seraphine in the AD carry spot. The Jinx and the Jin. Kai'Sa got picked. The Sylas, okay.
I personally don't agree with that choice yet. I think Sylas is very good as a counter pick, but as a first pick option, I don't really agree with.
Yeah, I don't really like the Sylas third picked versus only a Hecarim and a Kai'Sa. Okay, I hope Team Hyper takes note of this and actually picks weak ultis for the Sylas to steal. Maybe a Rise is a normal counter pick. Yeah, I mean, Sylas... Now, Karma and Graves are kind of flex picks. Graves not so much, but it is played top and mid sometimes. The Karma is a flex pick in pretty much every lane but jungle. And the Sylas can go top and mid, so there are a good amount of flex picks. And they look like they're going to pick up the Malzahar. Now, the Malzahar is pretty good into the Sylas. But the Sylas with the Malzahar ult is also pretty scary. I wonder what we're gonna see here coming in the bans phase number 2. Who can they ban? Oriana's still open. But they, unless the Sava's probably mid, so a mid laner is probably not the right choice in this case. Who would you want to see banned, Liam? Looks like it's the Vayne ban. Okay, looks like it's the Vayne ban and the Thresh ban for blue side. Pretty normal bans. The Vayne ban, I don't quite understand. Doesn't seem like the best team to pick Vayne into, but they decide to go for it anyway. The Thresh, pretty normal ban, really overpowered support as Liam said before. Excited to see what they actually go with, because they are banning out a lot of AD carries here, leaving them only with a couple of good picks left.
I am back. My apologies. I kicked my PC off the earth.
Oh, sad. And there's a Zion nerf ban as well. Yeah, the AD carry pool is becoming pretty small. I wonder who they're actually going to pick here on blue side.
Well, ADCs are really left. They're viable. Varus?
Yeah,
Varus
Varus
is actually a really good pick here right now. He's
Yeah, I
good
think-
into a Kaiser in low range.
I think Varus is a good pick here. You have Varus, you have...
Varus Karma is disgusting as well.
Yeah, you have Varus, you have... Who can you send bot lane right now? You can... Samira wouldn't be a good pick here.
Samir would be terrible here.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Who could
I
you-
mean, they could go for an AP carry, something like a Veigar,
True.
to stop their engage.
You can also go for maybe a Draven. I think it's not horrible into them because you can stop the Hecarim E and the Nautilus Q if you're good enough. But
Yeah,
Draven
for
is
sure.
But Draven is a little bit of an odd pick. You don't really see it too often. Looks like it's going to be the Sivir, maybe. Actually, the Sivir is a pretty decent pick.
I would agree with that. Sivir is a good choice. I'll
Oh,
pick that.
looks like
or
they're
I'll
going
pick-
Tristana. I think I'd prefer the Sivir actually over the Tristana.
Sivir's definitely the better choice. It neutralizes the lane against the Nautilus. Kaiser.
And I feel like Tristana's going to jump in and just get Malzahar ulted, to be honest. So it's going to be a little bit complicated. Okay, what's the last pick? The Fiora. All right, they're blind picking Fiora. A lot of trust on their top laner then.
I mean, it really depends if Hyper Int can engage well. If Hyper Int has good engage, which it does, the Fiora pick isn't that good.
Yeah,
Because Fiora likes a team that disengages.
when an got into it, I'm not exactly sure how that matchup goes, but the Fiora is a champion that needs a lot of wave clear on her team because normally she'll be playing on the side lane and not with her team, and it looks like they might be missing some wave clear, so I'm not exactly sure how they will handle the 4v5 while leaving the Fiora alone in the side lanes. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Alright, and that looks like it's draft. Alright, and draft is done. The Hecarim, the Kaiser, Malzahar, Nautilus, and Shen for Team Hyper, and for Team DET. You have the Karma, the Graves, the Silas, the Tristana, and the Fiora. Looks like the Karma will be going on to the support role.
I mean, the overall comp so far, I think it's okay. The only thing I'm kind of disappointed in with both teams is they left so many picks open from the start, such as the Hecarim, such as the Kaiser, and other champs like that.
True. Now, I feel like DT's comp is a little bit harder to pull off than the comp from Hyperint. But the comp from Hyperint is pretty straightforward, but they do lack a good amount of damage unless this Hecarim is going Bruiser. The Malzahar doesn't really do that much damage. I mean, unless he gets ahead, he's kind of more of a dot overtime damage dealer. So they might
I mean-
actually suffer a little bit in that department.
I personally think that the
Liam?
team, anything with easy engage, easy setup is the easier way to go. And the Shen does that for the team, allowing him to match the Fiora in the side lane and then help out the team when needed, with easy engage to make the Fiora impossible to side lane without
Yeah.
getting punished.
I wonder if this Shen is actually I wonder if the Shen will be going for the new build.
There's a new build.
Yeah, it's apparently you go Chem Tank into I think 2 support items, Yeah, you go like Redemption, Ardents, something like that. It's a little bit weird, but I have seen it done. It seemed
Does
by
Arden sensor proc?
hmm?
How does Arden sensor proc?
His ult. I'm not 100% sure. I saw that build on.
Oh, yeah, it would be out. It would be out. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking.
it's a build made by Shen One Trick, if I'm not wrong. So, what do you think for this game? What are your
I
predictions
see.
here? I think who'd you give it to after draft alone?
Or you're lagging right now.
I'm lagging.
Uh,
Oh, I hope I'm not lagging. Oh boy. Looks like we have a little bit of a problem right here. I hope it's not my internet. If it is, I
no,
really do
it's
apologize.
mine. It's fine.
It's
Don't
yours?
worry.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, it's fine. My apologies.
Okay. As for this
Do you want me to answer the
stream,
question you asked? Because it
yeah,
only just came through for me.
yeah. Go on.
Okay, so I think the team on the right, I can't remember names sadly, but the team with Shen, Hekar, Malzahar, Kaiser, and Nautilus is definitely the better team, according to me. Because what I said before of simple engage. They got the Nautilus, they got the Shen, they got the Hecarim. Easy in, kill the backline, they're out. The thing with the Fiora team is Fiora loves to split push. However, against a hard engaged team, it's hard to do that. They have decent disengage with the Karma, so it really depends on if the Fiora team can really play well around these objectives, allowing Fiora to do her thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think if your comp is always harder to pull off than a Shen, for example. I'm wondering if the Shen is actually going to run Ignite. I see that a lot. Shen's run Ignite Flash, and then instead of TP, they just use their ult. It's kind of a cheese
It,
build, but it does work pretty well.
I mean, the main goal I can see is getting Fiora ahead, and if Shen has Ignite, it could mean that she won't win the 1v1. But if he gets behind, then it's so much worse because he couldn't TP back to lane. I think he's there to just hold the fort, and then Hecarim looks to get mid lane ahead with the easy CC, or bot lane with the easy CC again.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at lanes alone, I think mid lane, I think the Sylas ultimately loses unless the Malzahar really misplays. I don't think there's really a chance for the Sylas to get a kill on him. And the Malzahar ult is really, really annoying when you're playing Sylas. In the jungle, the Graves really counters the Hecarim, or so I've heard at least. It is also a little bit depending on if they get prio or not, and really how good both of the junglers play, and also ward setup. In the bot lane, I'm not sure how the matchup goes, but you're a support player, so
Uh,
how does bot lane matchup go?
well, it depends on how the people play, but Justana and Karma should have easy lane prior whenever they want because of the push pressure. The problem with that is they are very susceptible from ganks from Hecarim and the Shen, with the Shenar. So it's going to be kind of hard for them to play safe because one problem with Tristana is she just wants to push, push, push. You'll never see her be able to freeze because of her passive. So in this lane, if Nautilus gets a good hook early, they can definitely win a fight. If they're poked out beforehand, it'll definitely be the Tristana and Karma favored.
Yeah, I do have to agree. I think the Shen is always really annoying when you're playing something like when you're playing something like a Sylas, especially because you want to be roaming this game. I mean, I would be roaming this game because you can't really do so much mid. The Malzahar is just going to push you in permanently, and you can't really kill him at all because of his ult. But when you look for a roam on the sidelines, you always have the Shen ult threat on top of you, so it's a little bit hard to do much. It'll be good to see what he does to go around that.
I mean, I'm seeing from the Fiora side, the more I think of it, the harder it's going to be for them to win. But it could just be a team diff. Maybe the Fiora team has better players, they'll win.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely, yeah. As I said, it's a harder draft to execute, but I don't think it's a worst draft per se. No, I would rather they actually had a tank because they have no real front line. But
Uh,
if they get ahead, I think they can do without it. It's really, again, it really depends on just how well they can execute their comp as a whole.
I mean, it just depends if Fiora can get so far ahead that she can just fully take over the game. I hope it happens. A Fiora team comp is always so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look very fair, but it's always very fun to watch. I'll give you that.
Yeah, definitely. When you one-shot your whole team and you start crying about it.
Yeah, it's also really hard to gank a Fiora. I mean, there's also always the imminent threat of her just getting you and your jungler. All right, looks like we are in game. Um, Rune wise, do you think anything is weird, or do you think everything's normal?
From what I'm looking at, I don't see anything weird. Is the I guess Comet makes sense on Malzahar. I'm not really a mid lane player, so I can't say.
Actually, the comment on Malzahar is a little bit weird. I play Malzahar myself. I mean, I think I do see some people going Comet, although I think Unsealed Spellbook is really, really strong on Malzahar, just because of the flexibility it gives you. But if you are going for lane bully Malzahar, I do understand why you'd prefer that. You think we're gonna be seeing some sort of invade or?
I would really like to see maybe a in the bush strat from the what teams what? Just so I can say for next time.
So the bottom team, like let me see. So the bottom team is Team Hyperint, and the team above it is Departure Esports, DET.
Okay. Okay, I'll write that down. So I think Hyperint team for them, I definitely want something like maybe a cheese bush because of a Nautilus Q and maybe a Shen 4-man taunt or 5-man taunt would be insane. So I'd definitely say Naut team could invade, but if I was the Fiora team, I would definitely just AFK, stay 5-man, try not fight early game, see what I can do late.
Yeah, I think the Fiora team is actually not even that bad when it comes to invades. You have the Karma, you have the Tristana with the reset. If you do start W, you have the Graves also with the early damages. I would like to see them actually invade each other because I think they have good possibilities.
Of course.
All right,
Just,
and we're into game.
well, I'm hyped.
All right.
Do we know a lot about the team? About both teams?
So both teams are in the Ocean League. That is in the same league as we are in. By the way, I am the mid laner for Prisma, and the fellow casting with me is the support for Prisma.
Hello.
Team Hyper and Team Departure Esports. Team Departure Esports 1 has played against one of our fellow SC teams, Team Solar, and I believe they lost 2-0. Yeah, they lost 2-0. Team Hyperint I have not seen much of, but that's why we're here today to get a glimpse of the teams. Show objective timers. Oh boy.
Alright, I have people's names. Team Hyper In and Team Departure Esports. So my apologies before for saying the Fiora team. Not the smartest thing to say, I would have to say.
Looks like the
Okay, what I'm seeing in the...
objective timers aren't really working out, by the way. So that's why I can't show them, but yeah, go ahead.
I can see in the bot lane that Karma and Tristana are looking to stay in the bush. And they've got double wards up to make sure that they aren't invaded, which I completely agree with, which allows them to not have the Nautilus Shenny, like I said before. Or are they looking for a cheese?
Yeah, it looks like the bot lane for Team Departure Esports might be actually looking for a cheese. The Karma and Tristana are sitting in the bush, maybe waiting for them to walk up, but I think they were actually spotted by the minions in the mid lane. It's a pretty boring matchup. I don't see much happening. The Karma poking out the Nautilus with the empowered Q. Both junglers, I think, might be going for a full clear. Hecarim starting with red buff into Krug and Graves going blue into Grump. I'm expecting a full clear from these junglers unless the Hecarim maybe finds an opportunity on the top lane for a cheese gank level 2 or 3. How early do you think this bot lane has kill pressure? Either or.
Pardon, what you say?
Do you think any bot lane has kill pressured Nautilus going in for the hook, but unfortunately misses it? Do you think he could have killed there if he actually landed that hook?
Level 2 advantage is one of the most important things to ever happen in the bot lane. So 100%, if he hit that hook before they got level 2, they would at least chunk him out. They would not kill though, because of the Karma shield.
Ooh, the Karma accidentally hitting the minions and actually taking one of those. It's only one, but it is a little bit sad. In the top lane, looks like the Fiora is just poking the Shen. The Shen doesn't really care. In the bottom, however, there is a small minion lead being created. In the mid lane, the Silas having a little bit of a struggle against the Malzahar, as is normal. The junglers once again just full clearing. The Shen actually going in on the Fiora, gets the taunt off And that is some nice damage onto the Fiora. The Shen damage is a little bit nasty early game.
I would definitely agree with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with this bomb grab. It should be the Grave should path topside, which he is.
Yeah, it looks like Graves is actually taking a red buff. He is actually... Oh, Shen actually going in on the Fiora, landing another taunt. And yeah, Fiora really can't do much because of Shen's W there. So she's just losing trade after trade. If the Shen keeps poking her down like this, he can look actually for a kill opportunity. Nautilus hook missing again. The Graves actually was looking in for maybe a mid lane gank, but the Malzahar backed in time. Both junglers just swapping crabs. Hecarim gets bot crab. Graves getting top, and the Hecarim actually maybe looking for a gank on the bot side, but he gets spotted out by a ward.
I think Hecarim could have waited a little bit longer, because if we look at the bot wave, we can see it slow pushing into the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus. If he had a little bit more patience, if you look at the wave now, it definitely would have been gankable. So it's just unlucky with the timers.
Yeah, it's a little bit unlucky with the timers. Wait, let me just...
Everything good?
Yes. It's just the first time I'm streaming on this channel, so settings are a little bit messed up. I am sorry, but I am trying my best over here. Yeah, looks like the Silas backed. He has so many items in his inventory. That looks kind of weird. He has the 2 cookies, 2 potions. He has sustained for days. I don't think anything is really happening mid lane.
One thing you did not notice was, as we saw Hecarim bot lane, Graves did the smart choice of going top for his crab. It spawns around 4 minutes, so he knew perfectly that it was a good time to go for it.
Oh, looks like there's a trade on the top lane. The Shen actually going onto the Fiora again, landing those taunts, just doing so much damage to this Fiora. This Fiora really struggling in the early laning phase. Thank you for the tip in Twitch chat to use Control-Shift-Z. For some reason, it's really not working. Maybe it's just me. I'll try to get it to work for next game, but for now, bear with me. You think the Hecarim is actually gonna try to sneak an early game dragon, or is he just gonna?
With how bot lane's going so far, I can definitely see the Kai'Sa Nautilus creating more pressure, so it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it looks like the Silas has been looking in for an aggressive trade on the Malzahar, getting a good chunk off the Karma actually here as well. Malzahar forced the flash there. Yeah, the Karma early game damage is really disgusting, so I think if he didn't flash there, he could have actually gone down. Now, mid lane without flash, the Hecarim could potentially be looking for Dragon, but it would be extremely risky. However, the Graves can maybe look for one. Malzahar actually getting ulted with his own ult. Silas going in for the kill. Oh no, he flashes into tower range and gets Maz ulted in return. That was
something.
I don't know if that was an outplay or if the Silas messed up. That was really sad. As the minion died, the Malzahar got 6 and the Silas got stunned under the tower. Feels bad, man.
We can see that this is turning into a Drake for...
Oh, there's actually a fight in the bot lane. They're trying to going in, maybe getting the Nautilus. Nautilus super low. Uses heal, uses flash, but I think he's still going to die. The Hecarim going in on the Karma. Looks like the Karma gets taken down. The Tristana might also be taken down. Kai'Sa flashes, gets the Tristana as well. Hecarim running through the Graves on the top lane. As well as Shen versus the Fiora. Fiora gets the ult off and looks like he's going to be a solo kill for the Fiora. And there's fighting all over the map. I mean, that was kind of crazy. Who do you think came out on top overall over there?
Well, if we look at the kills, we can see it's 2-3, but the win con for the team, for both teams, is Fiora getting a lead, which is 100% their choice, and was a good decision. And the thing with Tristana getting kill is good as well, which allows both their carries to get what they needed. And on the other side, we have the Hecarim getting a kill, their mid laner getting a kill, Malzahar, and then we have Kai'Sa as well. So overall, it's kind of hard to say, because both teams got the kills and the carries they wanted.
Yeah, but I think overall Team HyperEnt comes out on top. They got one more kill. They are currently sitting on the 1.3k gold lead, and they also got the Dragon. Cloud Dragon being pretty good for most of their champions, especially the Shen and the Hecarim. Look at the gold difference. The Kai'Sa is 300 gold ahead. Malzahar 2. Looks like the Hecarim is actually 500 gold ahead of this Graves. Yeah, the Graves pick to counter the Hecarim really not working out as intended.
One major thing to happen in the last fight was Hecarim was doing Drake as the fight was starting, so it would have been a completely different fight if Tristana went in slightly later and the Hecarim finished Drake beforehand.
Yeah, one thing to point out is that Team Departed Esports is using a different support, I believe, and the mid laner, I believe, is also a sub. So in case people are wondering. As for bot lane, I think bot lane is in a little bit of a sorry state. The Kaiser is pretty ahead. I wonder what item she's going for. Is she going for collector first item or?
I have not seen anyone do that. Most people just get Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, but she started with the serrated dirk into the pickaxe, which is a little bit odd here. In the top lane, the Shen is just pushing the Fiora in, which is a little bit weird. I think the Fiora actually has more wave crit than Shen. The Shen doesn't really have any wave crit whatsoever.
She may not know where the enemy jungle is, so she just wants to farm up. So it's an understandable choice if that's the reason.
Yeah, the Silas in the mid lane getting pushed in by the Malzahar, but surprisingly enough, he has a gold CS lead. So so you go Dirk into pickaxe because you can involve Q early with it.
Oh,
that's a good point actually. The Shen again going for a taunt on the Fiora, trading extremely aggressive, but the Fiora actually going in for ult, maybe a solo kill. Shen hugging the wall, but the Fiora still manages to hit the vitals. Ooh, I know that Shen is upset. He was actually hugging the wall there so the Fiora wouldn't get the last vital, but she manages to sneak around with the Q and pop it, and getting a solo kill on the Shen. The Shen now 0-2, pretty behind on the Fiora, but I think as soon as he gets Bramble Vest, he should be fine.
If we saw there, as we saw the Malzahar get lane prior and the Hecarim moved down towards bot lane, but Grace was covering them and Silas was moving later on, so they weren't able to do anything on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, this top lane now actually not going the way Shen intended to, and I'm pretty sure Shen is actually a strong matchup into the Fiora, so getting solo killed twice is actually pretty bad for him. For the rest of the lanes, it's pretty much even, except for the bot lane where the Kaiser does have a 15 CS lead, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the early game it does add up to quite a bit. The Graves actually getting caught out by the Hecarim. Malzahar ult comes out instantly. Looks like the Fiora is actually going on the Malzahar. Malzahar is going down here by the Silas and the Fiora. It looks like the Hecarim might actually go down as well. The Silas does have the Hecarim ult, but decided not to chase. That was a good catch on the Graves, but then they get turned on by the Silas and the Fiora. The Malzahar then going down. This Fiora now 3-0, already has Trinity Force. She's going to be extremely strong.
Didn't you see that Grace was on a ward?
Oh, he was?
You saw Fiora start moving. Yeah, that's the reason that Grace was, he was debating them, even you.
Oh, that got debated. He debated everyone then. It was pretty sad that the Graves didn't die. He got really, really close. But the Malzahar ult didn't really do enough damage because the Fiora killed the Malzahar before he could get the Graves. Now, this Fiora, 3-0 Fiora is going to be a really big issue. I'm interested to see what Team Hyperint does in order to shut her down.
She's already completed a Trinity Force, which is a massive power spike for her.
Yeah, the Trinity Force on the Fiora. You see, Trinity Force did get buffed this patch. I'm not 100% sure if it is the best item for her, but I'm fairly certain it is. And getting her this early is definitely something you don't want as Team Hyperint. Team Hyperint, however, still does have a minor, but, you know, a little bit of a gold lead. Looks like the Mals are actually getting engaged on flashes onto the Graves, but the Graves just says hello and catches him off guard. The Fiora may be looking for a trade on the top lane, but there are a lot of minions, and she's taking a lot of minion aggro there. Yeah, the Mals are going a little bit too ham, not respecting that the Silas had the Hecarim ult and falling to him.
I have to say, Silas played that well.
Yeah, Silas did
play
play that well.
Complain about.
Yeah, I mean, the Malzahar just pushed up a little bit too far, not knowing where the Graves is, and then flashing right onto the Graves' face. I think maybe saving flash there might have been the best choice for the Malzahar.
They seem to be looking for Drake now, which is a good choice because Malzahar can't get there in time because he just got killed, and he doesn't have TP up yet.
Yeah, Mountain Drake spawning here. Looks like Team Departed Esports 1 is looking for that Mountain Dragon. The Shan will be looking to ult, but Fiora is not letting him. Hecarim going in on the Silas. The Silas is falling down here. Fiora maybe actually getting the Shen. Gets the ult off and gets the kill to turn around. The Graves also extremely low. Has to flash. Gets healed by the Tristana. Kaiser flashing in. Getting the Graves. Hecarim decides not to go in, and that's a little bit of a messy fight. The Shen was actually waiting to ult there, but the Fiora went after him and forced him to fight so that he didn't have any other option than to fight her back. And because of the amount of damage she has, he just takes him down there.
They just won a 3v4. That's incredible.
That is pretty bad. They got 2 dragons, and the Departure Esports now in kind of a pickle. Even though that the Fiora did get the Shen up top, the dragons are stacking up. This is one of
for sure.
This is one of the things that is kind of sad as a Fiora player. you can't really.
Team's inting.
Yeah, your team is ending. You can't really do much. If you go down and you die, your game is over too. So they have to now find a way to play around this Fiora lead.
How would you do that if you wanted to play around the Fiora?
If I want to play around the Fiora, it's kind of hard. Maybe get the Herald, spawn it top, get first tower, give her the gold, and then just hover top and protect her from ganks, maybe from the Graves or the Malzahar. I think the Kai'Sa is really ahead, so playing bot side might not be the right play here.
If I was this Graves, 100%, I'll be telling my team, bot lane, I'm sorry, I'm kind of in half, you know. I'm staying top side, I'm going to keep this Fiora ahead, and then play around her as best as possible. While if I was to Hecarim, I'd perma-dive bot lane and try and get this guy some more and more kills. And get a lead that way.
Yeah, but as we pointed out before, the Hecarim, the Graves was actually a counterpick to the Hecarim, and it looks like it's not working just as he maybe thought. He didn't really get many opportunities to invade because he didn't really get the prior from the laners. The Sylas actually with the Karma mid lane, maybe chasing down the Malzahar, but he gets away just fine. The Shen up at the top lane, maybe looking for a reset. Oh no, he only has 400 gold. As for gold, the Kai'Sa now almost 1k ahead of the Tristana, the Sylas and the Malzahar. The Sylas is up 400 farm. In the jungle, the Hecarim actually almost 1k ahead as well, and the Fiora 1.7k ahead of the Shen. She is extremely fed.
I can't wait to see a 2v1 at some point. That's the thing I'm waiting for.
Yeah, the question is, while the Fiora is extremely ahead, they are lacking on dragons. So I wonder if the Fiora is going to come down for next dragon, aka Soul Point, and help her team maybe secure the next dragon.
Would you fight for Soul Point here?
If I had the comp of team the Parchase Port, I did. The Kai's actually going in with the ult, getting the Tristana. Yeah, Kai's is 3-0, 4-0 now. I apologize. The Hecarim actually maybe going in. Pox, the camp tank does nothing, and they're just zoning them off this bot lane tower. Yeah, the Kai'Sa there getting the Tristana with the ult. She does so much damage, has the Gale Force. Tristana not respecting her damage, and ends up falling. Things are looking a little bit dire for team the Parcher Esports.
One thing I disagree with is Sylas stay bot lane instead of staying mid. If you know that your team's dead there because the Tristana died, you can allow the Graves and you can allow the Karma to defend bot lane, and you can just defend mid lane. Because he decided to go bot lane as well, I think they're going to grab first tower here in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's another advantage over the deep hyper int. 2 dragons and first tower. The game is starting to look a little bit on the bad side for the Parcher Esports, but they do still have this huge Fiora top lane 4-0 with the Trinity Force. Right now she's sitting on 1,100 gold. Looks like the Fiora is actually getting collapsed on by the Hecarim, and the Malzahar doesn't actually get Malzahar ulted. That's really good for her. She might have actually fallen there. Graves chasing. I don't know if you want to do that. Are they going to fight this? No, looks like everyone is going to run away. They are respecting the 4-0 Fiora, and the 4-0 Fiora is respecting the Malzahar and the Hecarim.
They're playing where the Fiora is. They're able to get Rift held right now if they wanted. I don't agree with that right now, only because of all tower plates are down, which means that it's more useful for the Graves to farm instead, as he's a power farmer.
Yeah, I mean, the Graves, I don't know if he meant to hover the Fiora there or if he was just there by a mishap, but he did really save the Fiora. She also dashed in time before the Malzahar could ult, which really saved her ass.
For sure.
What would you do with this Tristana Karma bot lane? Currently, they're a little bit behind, and it looks like she's being zoned off the farm and everything because the Karma is just walking around with the Graves and the Sylas. What does Tristana do to stay relevant and stay in the game?
I mean, the best way to keep her in the game is to allow this tower to fall, just like it did, and just freeze the wave. They got 2 choices. One, they fight for this Drake, or they pray to themselves to like, guys, we can outplay them later with enough farm. So they just keep Tristana bot lane, freeze the wave there, allow her to CS, and then put most people topside, and while they're grabbing Drake, do as much as possible topside. And maybe grab this tower and kill Shen. Yeah,
as we can see, the Kai'Sa with 7,300 gold overall is quite the big girl. The Sylas actually getting caught out here. He decides to go back in, gets Malzahar ulted, and Nautilus ulted. He's just going to go down. The Karma may be looking for a Nautilus, but I think Nautilus is going to walk away scotch-free. The Hecarim actually turning back on the Graves. The Hecarim is going to go really deep. The Tristana actually may be looking for the Hecarim. Kai'Sa dives in the backline, gets the Graves, maybe going for the Karma as well. The Fiora actually TPs here, gets the Kai'Sa. No, she flashes away. Does get the Kai'Sa anyway with the flash and the ult. Going for the Malzahar. Maybe she can actually clean up She has no parry. I think she's going to fall. Yeah, and the Fiora actually going over to the Malzahar. That's a huge shutdown on the side of Fiora. The Hecarim actually going in on the Tristana, stopping her jump, and I think that's a Tristana dead as well. Hecarim is just going to run down the bot lane from Team Departure Esports, and the Karma as well dying. This is looking more dire and dire.
I mean, the only thing I can really say that they did wrong was, after they knew Silas got caught out, they would have to give up the Drake and see what else they could do. I would prefer that they went up, tried to get the Rift Tail, tried to do anything else. However, they decided to fight afterwards, which I completely disagree with, because they gave over the Fiora shutdown.
Yeah, the Fiora actually having to TP to come save her team. I think they actually should have just left after the... Yeah, as you said, the Silas got caught. It's his fault. The team should have just left, maybe looked for a Herald. Something like that. Instead, they gave over the Fiora shutdown to this Malzahar, who's now back into the game. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for Team Departure Esports to fight Team Hyperint here because of just the amount of CC and damage that they have right now.
One thing, take a look at the vision in the bot side for the red team. It's incredible.
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of proud of this from a support player side.
Team Hyperint actually has Graves' jungle completely warded. He can't move without being seen. They might actually be looking maybe for a Herald, but it doesn't look like it. Salas actually just stealing the poor Graves' jungle. I would do the same. Graves, when not ahead, is pretty useless, and the Salas still has a chance to scale into the late game and be a beast. But this Kai'Sa is now 6-1 with the Gale Force, and the Collector completed. The Berserker Greaves on top. The Fiora maybe going to face check the Nautilus. Nautilus misses the Q. Fiora actually going in here. The Kai'Sa and the Hecarim are right behind her. Looks like the Fiora is going to save the parry. I think she's pretty dead here. Parries, but it doesn't do anything. The Karma also getting ulted by the Nautilus and the Hecarim. She's going to go down, and both kills going over to the Kai'Sa. This is really, really bad. I think the game might be looking a little bit dunzo for
I think that was a... I'm kind of sad. I need to try and do something for my team to get ahead.
Yeah, it definitely looked like the Fiora there, kind of with the desperation play, thought maybe I can kill the Nautilus, maybe I can kill the Hecarim, but she was just too weak. And this Kai'Sa 8-1 right now, 10k gold. Actually, she's 3,000 gold ahead of the Tristana at 20 minutes. Huge lead on her. It's looking a little bit hard.
One thing that we knew was Baron was spawning, Fiora was topside. And one thing we know is Fiora should probably be on the bot side if possible. They know they can't contest this Drake, but they have some poke with the Karma. I'm not sure if I'd put Fiora topside right there. I may think to put her bot side, see what she can do, because you know you cannot win fights anymore. So you need to beg your top laner to carry the game and to get towers and win the game that way.
Yeah, I think Team Departure Esports has the right idea of sending the Karma to the Fiora and helping her out with the Graves then hovering as well. But the Fiora took a pretty bad fight there, which just seemed like one of those fights where you're like, my team is inting, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to try to go for a fight here. And it actually turned out pretty bad. I'm not 100% sure. This Hecarim got left through in the pick and ban phase, and he's showing why he's pretty much perma-banned or perma-picked whenever he's open. 307. He is extremely tanky. There's so much damage, just diving into the backline, doing so much work. This Kai'Sa as well, 8-1 again, diving into the backline like she did the last team fight and kind of cleaning house. I'm not 100% sure what the game plan would be for Departure Esports. Who would you say it is?
What size Departure Esports?
Departure Esports is the blue team.
Okay. From the blue team side, like I said before, Fiora, beg her to carry you through this game. I'll put her straight on the opposite side. Like, I do not understand why she is not bot lane right now. You definitely are probably going to give up Baron for it, but you need to try anything you can to give her a lead where she can 2v1. Because right now, if she plays it perfectly, she still may be able to do that, while the others try and keep her Baron off as long as possible. And
it looks like Team Hyperint actually going for Baron here. It actually looks like they are going to respond. The Salas has TP, and it looks like Team Hyperint actually stopping the Baron, turning on the Graves, the Hecarim going in with the Chem Tank, Kai'Sa ulting in on the Graves actually with the shield bow and the heal from the Tristana. The Fiora getting Malzahar ulted, and so much, you see, she can't really do much. The Hecarim getting off scotch-free, and maybe the Salas getting caught. No, the Salas uses Everfrost and stuns the whole team. That was a kind of a messy fight. The Salas TPing in through mid lane. The Fiora going in, but she got Malzahar ulted. It's the fun button, the R button for the Malzahar, and it looks like they might want to give up this Baron, but maybe Salas actually trying to go in, gets taunted, then hooked by the Nautilus, and it looks like this might be it for the Salas. He did hold on a good amount of time. Maybe the Tristana can clean up, but doesn't seem like it, and this game is just going downhill for Team Departure Esports here.
I have to say, Team Hyper Int are
Oh,
playing this
Graves
really well.
going in, maybe for a steal. He doesn't manage to steal. It gets killed by the Shen. This Tristana now maybe dead as well. No, managed to rocket jump over the wall. Gets almost sniped by the Kaiser W. That was very close. The Hecarim maybe going to run her down. Yeah, he's going to use E. Very fast choo-choo train Hecarim. Going to run over the Tristana and gets away scotch-free. This game looking a little bit over.
Well played by Team Hyper Int. That's all I can say. They did the simple thing of, guys, let's start Baron. They come for us, we fight them. We know we're stronger. Like I said, easy engage, easy team fights. That's what their comp is, and they're executing it well. If you didn't see beforehand, they got wards completely scattered in the enemy jungle, made sure that nobody could see, so they had to walk through, no vision at all, allowing the Nautilus and the Hecarim to engage whenever they want. They went, after they killed people, they went for it again, started it, and then they kept doing that till they got all the kills and finished Baron.
Yeah, one thing to point out as well, as we said in Champ Select, the Partial Esports here, their draft is so hard to pull off, and it looks like they're not really being able to do so. Meanwhile, Team Hyper Int picking up the Ocean Soul. Now a Shen and the Hecarim with Ocean Soul, they're going to be so tanky and just healing so incredibly much. We don't really see anti-heal on the side of Team Departure Esports, so they really can't fight them whatsoever. With the Baron as well, it looks like they're just going to run them down. I would like to see the Fiora actually in the side lane, because, I mean, there's really nothing she can do here.
I mean, I don't think there's anything the whole team can do against this right now.
Yeah, they got 2 behind on the team comp that needed to get ahead, and it looks like this will be it. They're getting the inhib. I'm assuming they're going to back here, but they might actually be looking for an end, although I do doubt it. Yeah, they're going to walk through top side and steal their entire top side. Poor Graves won't have enough gold to feed his family this summer.
They're just taking other camps as well. Seems fair.
They're just pretty much starving the Graves, taking all the farm. Oh, the Grand Prix in there feels bad. Taking all the farm, now taking the top tower, maybe going to reset and then try to get the bot tower as well. I don't think Team Departure Esports can really fight this, to be honest. Again, the Fiora has TP. I think she should be on the side lane here, looking for a TP back, and meanwhile just pushing towers down.
They need to fight now. I would say that you need to fight now, it's over. After they take 2 inhibs, the game's just done from here.
Yeah, 2 inhibs when you don't have a lot of wave clear versus a Malzahar is pretty doomed. Maybe Time Departure is going to look for an engage here, but they don't really have an engage type champion. They only have the Fiora, and she's instantly going to get Malzahar ulted. The Hecarim may be looking for an engage, charging his E here, but looks like they're just going to get the tower. Yeah, I mean, the Sylas with the Hecarim ult can look for something. He does have the Zonius, and the Everfrost. He's quite tanky. Maybe he can tank the Malzahar ult for the Fiora, allowing her to get on the backline. Is the only thing I can really see here.
Are they looking for all 3 inhibs? Seems
they
so.
Might be just playing the safe route. Hecarim maybe getting caught here. Hecarim just has to ult away, and then the Sylas using the Hecarim ult to maybe catch the Sand off. Uses Zonius, yeah, and the Fiora just gets instantly Malzahar ulted. Uses the cleanse to run away. The Sylas also going down to the Kaiser. The Graves getting caught as well. Kaiser's going to pick that one up too. Ults in to get him. The Karma getting Nautilus ulted. The Kaiser is going to pick that one too. And they could have been a pentakill, but
the team into them.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
Feels bad, man.
Nah, it was well played by them. I can't say much more.
Yeah,
I'm happy that they took their final stand, fought for what they wanted, but it was just too far.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like my AD carry here messaging me could have been a penta, referring to me stealing one of his pentas. AD carry are such whiny people. But yeah, really good game for Team Hyper Int. I think they had the draft gap, and they used their draft really well as well. I have to say, Team Departure Esports here with not a bad draft. It's just a really hard draft to execute, and in the end they didn't manage to do so. GG's Team Hyper Int.
Take a look at the damage graphs. Kaiser kind of popped off there.
Yeah, looking at the damage graphs here. Yeah, Kaiser did so much damage. 14,975 damage. Top damage from both teams. Who would you give MVP to in match number 1?
Oh, let me think. This is a hard one, because I think it was a whole team that did it. I would definitely say that Malzahar did his job. He was very simple, pushed his waves, made sure that the Graves couldn't invade. But I think I would have to give it to the Hecarim. He made so many plays for his team.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Hecarim really facilitated everyone to, have a easier time. Got those dragons, got that bot lane ahead as well. The Shen lacking a little bit on the top lane, but in the end, it wasn't enough to carry Team Departure. I think I'll give it to the Hecarim as well. As for the ace of the losing team, I'm going to have to give it to the Fiora. Getting those 3 or 4 solo kills on the Shen. Pretty impressive when it's a bad matchup as well for the Fiora, or it should be. I would like to see this top laner on a carry again, and maybe a comp that's a little bit easier to execute from the Departure Esports.
I think it was just unlucky. They got their win con off Fiora, they just didn't understand how to play around it to its full extent.
Fiora as a Fiora main, not buying one single control ward. Come on, guys, control ward saves lives. Maybe he could have actually spotted a Nautilus and not died top lane. Who knows?
Wow, inside top laners like that, I see.
I think top laners don't really mind getting insulted, to be honest.
I mean, they get insulted by the supports, the jungles, even mid laners. They get it all, so it's understandable.
Support, top laners, lives matter. We're going to be moving on to game 2. Just a small little break while we make the draft. You got any predictions for this upcoming game? Would you like to see, what would you like to see different, or maybe would you like to see them do again?
I'm a very simple person. I enjoy my engage. Let's keep simple drafts. Get prio mid lane, go invade enemy jungle, and get lead through that. So I definitely just want to have both teams bring out the best drafts possible, and then I think it'd be a closer game. Because if both drafts weren't so different on how good they were, I definitely think this game could have been a whole lot closer.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a draft gap. Again, I don't think it was a horrible draft. I just think it was a hard draft to execute there.
Completely agree.
We're going to go ahead and get on to the next game.
Apparently your HUD is not perfect when the game starts.
My HUD?
It's not to scale or something like that.
Oh. I can make it a little bit bigger or smaller depending on people want.
Okay.
Once we jump into the game, we can do a small break and I'll fix that for the people.
Perfect.
All right, let's just invite everyone in.
Okay, I'll try my best not to kick my PC down.
Yes, I feel like that's a pretty good idea.
I mean, the game wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I have to say that most players played it decently well.
Yeah, I definitely think both teams showing that they do have promise. Unfortunately, that game, it was just a little bit of a draft gap. And also, you might not know this, Liam, but Team Departure Esports has the same coaches that we do. So
were they the one with the good draft or the bad draft?
They're the bad draft, the Fiora draft.
We are so unlucky.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, breaking news, it was not our fault that we lost or their fault. It was the coach's fault.
Well, we did win 2-0.
It doesn't matter, okay? It's clearly coach's fault. It made
Absolutely.
it harder.
Coach Diff, absolutely. The coach inting with the draft once again. Not on the players. We're going to blame the coach on this one.
Yeah, completely.
I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom until the game starts. 5 minutes max. Alright, I'm back. I'm sorry for that. Waiting for all the teams to get into position here. Waiting for Team DET here.
Yeah. Cat probably died or something. The usual.
The usual. There are always little bits of delay here.
Okay. Just trying to set up my brain for the next one. Trying to get myself hyped.
What do you think? I think the Fiora actually worked out fine. They could look for...
It just wasn't played around. I'm gonna be honest, it just wasn't played around properly. She got the lead that the team needed. However, the team just did not understand. Same with the Fiora as well. It's a full team as a collective, I would say. Doesn't understand how to play the actual comp. However, I can't say that the comp was perfect for what they wanted, because they wanted a simple disengage, which the team didn't have. Because you can't say that Silas is a good disengage champ.
No, they really didn't have that disengage, and I mean, I said it in draft as well. It's hard to play Fiora when your team cannot do a 4v5.
I think poke. I think poke and Fiora is the way to go.
Yeah, I can see that. As long as they're able to hold their own, and let the Fiora, they should be able to pressure and let the Fiora do her thing. And when, the pressure is put onto the Fiora, then they should be able to maybe push some towers, look for a pick. But they didn't quite execute it. And I mean, it's easier to say than it's actually to do. Fiora comps
we
are pretty
could not
hard.
do that.
Yeah.
We could not do that, trust me.
Yeah, that's why my team plays scaling comps, because we do not trust ourselves to do that. It takes pretty big balls to pick a Fiora comp. Looks like Team DT having a little bit of a delay here.
Damn. They should be fine after a while. Probably get a drink or go in toilet.
But they are all in the lobby. They're just currently in spectate.
Let's see if Hecarim gets through. If he does, I will be so disappointed in both teams. Unless you're blue side, of course.
Right, they're currently trying to communicate with their mid. There seems to be an issue there.
Don't worry, I can play mid lane easily. Put me on the Galio. They'll be done for.
I mean, they got a sub mid laner because their mid laner couldn't make it. And it seems that their mid laner seems to be missing here. Hopefully,
it seems like it might be your chance as a mid laner yourself. Cast while playing.
I mean, that would be something else. I don't think I'm gonna be doing that though.
You sure?
Yeah, I don't think it'll work too well.
I think it would be amazing.
What do you think of both teams, since we're both going to be competing against them?
Oh, okay. So I don't want to trash talk because I don't think anyone deserves it yet.
Yes.
There's no one I've seen who I'm going to be like, okay, no, they don't deserve to be here. Help me. But nobody so far has made me think I am scared of you. You've done something so good or played the game so well. However, what's the team that won last?
Team Hyper Int won last.
I think Team Hyper Int had some decent macro. Because did you see how they played around Baron? They played it correctly.
They did seem to have some pretty good coordination. I mean, they were looking pretty solid with the ganks and the cover-ups and everything like that.
I would 100% agree with that. However, I do have to take everything I take about the Departure Esports with a grain of salt because they don't have their main roster. So I really can't say a lot about how good their team is. Because so far, a few of their players have done well in their lanes. Like, we have to say top lane won his lane, bot lane won their lane, and mid lane did alright himself. But you have to think as well, with their team... Wait, sorry. Bot lane, top lane did not win their lanes. However... they held their own. Yeah. They did hold their own, and maybe in better matchups they could do better.
Yeah, but it definitely looks like their jungler is pretty strong.
Who was their jungle?
Their jungler was the Hecarim.
Oh yeah, the Hecarim really played well.
Yeah, the Hecarim definitely played well that game. He really, really kind of put his foot down and said, "Okay, guys, we got this. You know, just get your head in the game again." He is D1, so not too much of a surprise there.
As a D1 player myself, of course we're the best.
That's what D1 players think, and they're stuck in D1 forever.
Hey, I only just got there. I'll see how
Oh,
long I
actually,
last.
looks like the draft already started. Hecarim and Morgana ban for the side of DET. Pretty normal red side bans. Seraphine and Poppy on the side of Hyper. And this Poppy again, the guy must like be insane at Poppy.
I want to see. I want to see this man's Poppy.
I mean, yeah, I
Can
can't.
we leave it open?
Yeah, we'll leave it open just to see just how scary it is. Maybe we'll regret it. The Seraphine ban also pretty normal bans. I don't think anything is too out of the usual. What do you think they should ban here?
I mean, quite a few ADCs are open, which are quite strong.
Oh,
I
there's the
want to see a
Kai'Sa.
Thresh ban if someone plays Thresh. I still believe that champion is way too broken in the support role right now compared to any other one.
Yeah, Thresh is really strong right now. He has disengage, he has engage, he has pretty much everything. The Malzahar ban, respecting the Malzahar. Yeah, I mean, Malzahar is such an annoying champion. It looks like they actually do pick up the Diana. I'm expecting this
Diana
Diana
jungle?
to be going jungle. Yeah, she did get buffed this patch and is looking pretty strong.
It's still a good flex pick between mid lane. So they're not fully showing their hand yet, which I do like.
True, but I think Diana mid, normally you don't pick it blind. I think they might be flexing it to the jungle though.
Jinx Oriana's still open.
The Volibear picked up maybe top or jungle. Not 100% sure. I think he's mostly played in the jungle role. For top lane, you don't really want to pick it like that. It is the old Volibear portrait though.
Hey, looking like a Chad. I miss him. I used to be an old Woolly Bear player.
Old Volibear Pepe hands, man.
For sure.
I'm still sad that they didn't keep his throw. That was such a fun mechanic. And it looks like we do get the Jinx on the side of DT. Jinx getting pretty much picked everywhere. Such a strong pick right now.
I want to see a Varus counter to this.
Yes.
It's incredibly strong into it.
Varus or Ash Braum are normally what you pick against the Jinx. Looks like let's see if they are aware of these counters. If they do know that these counters exist, and maybe pick one of those.
Guess what's open still? Thresh.
Lucian?
That could be Lucian mid.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be ADC.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Lucian mid. Lucian can be kind of blind picked. It doesn't have extremely hard matchups, but I think I wouldn't pick it blind. It looks like we might actually have a Sejuani top.
I hope it's a Sejuani top.
Okay, so what I'm seeing here is Diana jungle, Lucian mid, Sejuani top. It can be Lucian bot, Diana mid, Sejuani jungle, but I think that would be the worst rotation. And the Oriana picked up for Team DET. They have a really solid team fighting heavy comp with the Volibear, the Jinx, and the Oriana. Team comp looking a little bit scary. Looks like this time around Team DET actually have the better team comp, I would have to say.
So far, I would 100% agree with that.
It's when you pick Lucian, it's always really hard because if Lucian doesn't get ahead, his champion doesn't really have a purpose. He is made to smash lane, get ahead, and carry the game. So we'll have to see just how good their mid laner is on Lucian.
How's Oriana versus Lucian?
Oriana versus Lucian. Oriana does have the range to kind of be safe against the Lucian, but if the Lucian is really good and the Oriana missteps, she will get chunked pretty hard. So I would say it's actually a pretty skillful matchup.
With the Pocha Esports bans, right now, they got rid of the Ashe because it counts as the Jinx. However, like I said before, Varus is open. So I'm guessing they think that they can't play it on Team Hyper Int.
Now, Varus isn't really that widely spread yet. It's mostly like China and Korea that are picking it. It was picked by Han Sama in the finals of LEC, so maybe we'll see it coming, but I don't have my hopes up for it. It looks like the one may be getting picked up here on the side of DT. I would like to see maybe an Urgot, maybe even a GP, but it looks like it's going to be the Ornn here. The Ornn adding on to the team fight power and also the game, the Adams late game.
I'm sorry, why did they pick an Ornn when they could pick support and given their top laner counter pick?
That is a good question. The top laner played really well, so maybe it would have been a good idea to give the Ornn the counter pick or the top laner the counter pick. Thresh is still open for both teams. Looks like it's going to be a Senna 80 carry for the side of Hyper Int. Are we going to see a Tam Kench?
Oh no, okay. have a vendetta against that champion.
It is.
Oh, and it is.
It is going to be a Thomas Kench on the side of Hyper Int. They're going to unleash the Toad, unleash the Kench. We're going to be seeing what they can do on that Senna Tam Kench bot lane. Really
I
annoying.
think Lulu isn't even a bad pick here right now.
Yeah, I think Tam Kench really hates stuff that pokes because then you just feel extremely useless on the champion. I would say both teams right now feel pretty good, I'm not going to lie.
What did I say before? I'm really looking forward to comps where they're more similar and they're stronger. I would 100% say they're so much closer of a team right now. Or like, I can actually see both teams winning this game compared to the other one, where I thought it was cut dry. Which team was going to win?
Yeah, the Sejuani versus Ornn matchup, I have no idea how that works.
No idea.
Gonna be honest, not exactly the biggest fan of the Sejuani top. I mean, I like it, I just don't know how it works. And we're gonna see a Bard. I actually think Bard's a good pick here.
Okay, so one thing with Senatam Kench is, in that lane, they don't want to leave it. They're AFK, we're going to collect your souls, we're going to vibe till late game. Bard, that man does not care. That's the best thing for him. He just gets to sit there and be like, oh, you're going to leave my ADC and not kill her? Okay, I'm going to just head top lane. So I really think if this Bard is good, 100% takes over the game here. He's got such a good opportunity too with this volley bear.
Yeah, the Bard and the Jinx here. We're going to have to see if this bot lane can actually use the Bard as, to his full extent. It's kind of hard because, if you ward and in competitive mode in general, Bard is a little bit harder to pull off than, in solo queue, for example. So, we'll have to see how they play it out. I mean, the matchup between Bard Jinx and Senatam Kench is pretty good for the side of Bard Jinx, right? I think.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Would you say that the matchup favors maybe the Tam Kench Senna or the Jinx Bard?
I think Jinx Bard because Tam Kench can't really get on top of him. So the best way to think of it is if one champ is ranged and two champs are ranged against it and it's only Senna versus two champs, the two champs are going to win, of course, because the Tam Kench can't do anything, so it's a 1v2 in lane basically.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Senna Tam Kench. I think it's a really strong protect the carry type comp. Now, are we going to see the Senna following the jungler around past minute 10, maybe going to mid lane, going to top lane, just going around collecting those souls? It's really important for the Senna to have as many souls as possible. She really comes online at like 60, 80, I want to say.
I got told it's between 80 and 100 souls. When she gets to 100, that's when she's a good champ.
Yeah, so you really want to collect those souls as early as possible. For a jungle matchup, Diana versus Volibear, I think the Volibear is actually maybe favored, at least for 1v1s. Again,
I would say so.
They're not exactly conventional picks, so I'm not exactly sure how they go. The Orianna Lucian matchup is really up to skill again.
One thing I'd say about the Volibear Diana wants to go in, hard burst you, get out. With Volibear, you can't hard burst that champion. If you go in on him and you get a long extended fight into him, Volibear easily wins that because of his W heal.
Yeah, one thing to point out as well is that you have Diana that I'm pretty sure she needs to get ahead. I haven't seen much of Diana jungle, but if she doesn't get ahead, she's always a little bit weaker than she should be. Now, she does have the old Zhonya's combo, which is really, really strong, and the Sejuani to follow up or actually set up for her. But I think this game will actually be decided in the mid lane. I think if this Lucian can utilize his champion well and get a lead on the Orianna, it's possible that he can carry the game.
I think the Parcher Esports has the better comp.
Yeah, I think the Parcher Esports has the easier comp to execute. Maybe not with the Bard. The Bard is kind of an X factor. It's really depending on how good the Bard can play.
I disagree. He gives a lot of disengage to his team. Gives a lot of hard engage if needed with the Ornn.
Yeah, again,
I think it's a good pick.
I think it's depending on how good the Bard is, right? It's
I have belief, right? I believe in my Bard mains.
Now for Team Hyper Int, I really like their comp. I like Sejuani and Diana top. No, Diana jungle and Sejuani top. Senna Tam Kench, I like that too. I'm a little bit worried about the Lucian mid, but it's one of the best mid laners that's also AD. I would have actually maybe liked the Tristana. Maybe
Do they have enough damage?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, if the solution doesn't get ahead, they might lack damage until the Senna really pops off. I would have liked maybe a Tristana, a Yone, and Aurelia. Aurelia is really good into the Oriana, but we're going to have to see just how good this mid laner Coach Kirim is on Delusion.
I think if Diana gets a good ult, game's over. She wins the team fight for them. But the actual chance of her being able to find a flank to get that ult is the only thing that scares me. Because she needs to do as much damage to this Jinx and this Oriana as possible. If she one-shots one of them, they've won the fight. Well played. Because the Senna and the Lucian are going to have a tough time trying to get to the Ornn and the Volibear front line.
Who do you give this? I think we draft if you say it's for Departure Esports. I think I would also
100%.
go with Departure Esports. Their comp is just really simple to execute. The Oriana Jinx, just the basic carries right now, and they need to do less in order to win. However, I think I'm actually going to give my vote to the side of Team HyperInt. They played the last game pretty cleanly, and I think they should be able to execute this team comp, even though it's a little bit harder.
Okay, I have belief in Departure Esports, you know? I'm ready for the 1-1 to come out. I'm ready for them to not have the correct players and still win.
I
It's
mean,
mostly 'cause
if
they
the
picked
Bard
Bard,
wins
I'm
here
proud.
today, we might be forced to pick it ourselves.
Oh, wow. Imagine that.
I mean,
Please do, actually.
I do have a comp with the Bard in mind. It's all deciding on how this Bard does this game. Your future is based purely on this Bard.
My heart's racing.
For the ones who don't know, Liam here, Mr. Zathos is Bard, not one trick. I think you
I was about to
play.
say, don't insult me like that.
You mostly play Thresh and Bard, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure from Mr. Zathos here.
I'm not gonna talk bad. All I care about is just good gameplay. So yeah, I will talk bad.
Jinx Bard against Senna Damkensh. I think early game the Jinx Bard have the upper hand maybe.
Completely.
Tamkench really hates people who poke him down and kind of make him hard to. He can't really do much against the Bard. If he walks up, he's just going to get stunned or poked down. Bard also really, really fast and has some pretty good damage. What do you think this Bard should go mastery-wise?
Mastery, just a simple Guardian. Because if he stops Diana from one-shotting his carries, he's won the game. It's understandable. Because what will Electrocute do against our team? Slightly more damage, his team doesn't need it. He has Jinx Oriana. He'll be fine without it. It's the bare route to go, and then you're going to a Locket, and then maybe a Frozen Heart if he wants, or he can go into something like a Dead Man's Plate, but since the Nurse isn't the best anymore.
Yeah, I really want to see this Lucian actually take the Ignite and be more aggressive, because he really needs a lead on the Oriana. Oriana does not need a lead to be useful. She's a utility mage. Her ult is so, I was going to say broken. It is hard to land it. Don't get me wrong. I've missed a good amount of them. It's harder to land than most people think. Like the ball, people can just play around it. It's a little bit harder than you think. But if you are good at Oriana and can get a really good ball placement, you can zone off an entire team with her. The utility on that champion is really insane. So I'm pretty excited to see this matchup up in the mid lane.
Maybe we won't pick Oriana if this Oriana's bad then, for you.
I mean, I'm always down to play Oriana. I think she's pretty fun actually. Some people really dislike playing her because she's the basic mage, good into every comp, good in every comp.
I mean, I've played 2 games of Oriana, and I won both games. I'm not sure how you want to take with that. Maybe I'm just a mid lane god.
All right, this is game 2 right now.
Oh, love the Bard skin. Snow day as always.
All right, and we're in the game. Okay, mastery-wise, what do you think?
From what I'm seeing right now, everything seems basic and simple. Diana with what is that? Is that the right rune for her?
Conqueror. I mean, I've seen a lot of people go Conqueror on the. I've seen a lot of people go Conqueror on the Diana.
I mean, I'm not sure. That's why I asked. I mean,
Yeah, right now it's
just seems like a
1-0.
simple 5-point. Oh, Bard collecting his chimes. No, it just seems like a simple 5-point right now. Nothing too incredible. I agree with both teams doing this.
Okay. As for runes and stuff, got a little bit confused in Twitch chat. I think everything should be fine. It's 1-0 for Team HyperInt and Team DET. It's the second game right now. Yeah, Conqueror definitely the best. The aftershock on the Sejuani top. Not 100% sure how that works. I think the grasp is actually what you can go. Maybe Conqueror even. I'm not 100% sure again. I don't really see a lot of Sejuani tops. The rest of the people, the Senna with the Glacial, that is what you take, right? Glacial on the Senna?
Oh yeah, completely.
All right.
It depends. What did Tam Kent's take for his second runes? Can we
Guardian.
see?
I can't really see here.
I was expecting the inspiration because I can't remember what it's called, but something where if somebody gets slowed, you deal more damage and move slightly faster. Usually
Yeah,
take on Ash.
Tam Kench with approach velocity and biscuit delivery.
Yes, that's the right choice.
Now, as for the rest of the runes, seem pretty standard here. The Orianna versus the Lucian. Lucian already getting some poke down, is not really able to land those Qs. He really needs to prioritize Orianna getting the Mana Flow band stack, and the Lucian actually just poking her down. She's a little bit too close. Oh, the Bard stun onto the Tam Kench.
It's busted.
I mean, yeah, the hitbox is a little bit unfair. I'm gonna have to say that.
Oh no,
Oof.
I completely agree.
Another one. This party getting some pretty good poke onto the Senna.
Both lanes have sustain, so it's happy for them both to do it. One thing I quickly want to talk about was the exhaust instead of a TP for Tam Kench. I'm more in the favour of taking a TP, but it allows. The only reason I'd say that is the exhaust really is helpful if people are starting to run into you and want to kill your Senna super fast. However, I don't see that really happening.
Oh, looks like the Bard actually maybe looking for an engage, going into the portal, missing the Q. Jinx actually maybe getting caught up, has to flash away, gets exhausted by the time Ken. She gets eaten, looks like she gets spitten out, and I think she's going to fall here to the Senna. That's first blood to the bot lane of Team Hyper Int. That was an interesting fight there.
They just didn't play around the minion wave perfectly because Tam Kench was able to get a lot of Qs off, and then when the W hit from Senna, it was just all over. If Tam Kench is ready to come close to you, gobble you up, game's over. GG, you lost the fight.
All right. I think the minimap is a little bit fixed. It's weird that the objective timers were hiding there. That's a little bit
Bard
odd,
in the mid
but
lane?
everything should be fine. Bard roaming in the mid lane, and the Lucian doesn't know. Can he get a kill on Orion before the Bard gets to him? The Bard flashes, the Lucian flashes as well. Does the Bard have portal? Doesn't seem like it, and the Lucian just manages to walk away there.
Bard had a few too many steps in the same position to not get enough auto attack off, which was unlucky, because if we look at his summoner spells, we can still Ignite still up. So he definitely could have got a kill there. It was just unlucky with the execution of it.
Yeah, in the top lane, it's pretty much a wet noodle fight, to be honest. The Ornn versus the Sejuani, I don't think they can really kill each other. I think, if anything, the Sejuani has more kill pressure on the Ornn. She does more damage than people realize, to be honest. In this mid lane, the Lucian now without flash is pretty bad for him, because he can get ganked by this Bard and get ganked by the Volibear, and they have a good amount of damage, and they can't take him down. Doriana going for a back here. It does have TP.
If we quickly look in the top lane and look at their CS, there's already a 10 CS difference in the top lane.
Yeah, every lane is pretty even in CS, but the top lane, as you said, 10 CS advantage for the Sejuani. Maybe it's a bad lane, and I'm not aware of it. Don't want too much LPL.
Apparently it's busted, according to some people. I think you can fully clear the wave in level 10 or something along that with QW.
Oh, Diana may be looking for a gank on the Ornn, but the Ornn is just going to eat away towards the tower, and it's going to be just fine. On the bot lane, Jinx getting a little bit of a poke with the rockets onto the Senna Tam Kench, but she's going to heal everything back. The Volibear actually maybe looking for a gank here on the side of Ornn, but it doesn't look like it's going to do anything. They're just going to run away. The Ornn is a little bit too low.
It looks like the bot lane now is going the way it's meant to of Bard and Jinx poking them out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge wave for the side of Senna and the Tam Kench. The Ornn getting pretty low, trading against the Sejuani. Yeah, I can't help but wonder.
I don't know how that matchup goes.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder, though, if the Sejuani had the grasp there, if the trades wouldn't just be going so much better in their side. Which they are. 100%. I'm just saying they could be going even better. The Senna landing a really good W. The Tam Kench going on to this Jinx. I think the Jinx has no flash. Gets gobbled up. Gonna get spit out here. And it's gonna go right into the hands of the Senna. And that's another kill on the Jinx. This lane, I don't think is being played out the way it should.
It's mostly just because when Senna hits a W on you, Tam Kench is able to get his 3 stacks on you. You're eaten up, gobbled. Bard just looks at you like, sorry, man. What am I meant to do? You're dead here.
Yeah, I mean,
you just die.
It's pretty, the approach velocity on the Tam Kench makes him pretty fast when running towards you. I think she's not really respecting that the Senna Tam Kenshi do have a pretty good amount of kill pressure. And the Senna, of course, landing a really good W there. We can't discredit her on that.
Take a look at the gold difference between Senna and Jinx.
Senna and Jinx currently... Oh my god, Jinx
Remember, it's a support.
Yeah,
it's a support Senna.
Senna is playing support, but she's already 400... about 800...
More gold
My
than
math's pretty good.
Tankage.
About 800 gold difference from the Jinx here. The Bard is also pretty behind. In the mid lane, it seems to be pretty even. In the jungle, the Diana slightly ahead. And in the top lane, the Sejuani with a little bit of a CS advantage once again. Still only 10 CS, so it's not horrible. What do we think? What do we think is the win con here for both teams?
Well, very simple win con for the team of Team Hyper In. Yeah, already have it. Senna, look how many kills she has. Play around her, just get her a lead as best as possible. Well, if I was on the side of Departure Esports, I would think, okay, so we know bot lane isn't going well. See what we can tell. Tell our Bard, hey, leave Jinx to farm. Leave her in a possible state where they keep pushing into her and look through things mid lane. If you get this Orianna ahead, she could just completely one-shot somebody on the enemy team, allowing you to win a fight that way.
Yeah, the Ornn and the Sejuani, again, nothing's going to really happen in this top lane. They're both so tanky, I don't think they can really kill each other. In the mid lane, the Solution really not getting the lead that he should be getting. They may actually be looking to zone off the Volibear. In the bot lane, the Jinx forced to flash once again. The Volibear actually walks into the Diana. That was really weird. The Diana actually gets Orianna ulted. He flashes away and smites the minion, gets away just fine. The Lucian actually going to fall here as well. The Ornn misses ult. Oh no, but it looks like the Lucian is going to die anyway. Maybe Sejuani could pick up the Orianna, and she does. Damn, that's a lot of damage on the W. And that's a 2-for-1. No, yeah, it's a 2-for-1 on the side of Team Departure Esports there. I think the play from Orianna and Diana, from Lucian and Diana, was a good idea, but
it was too slow. The thing is, when you have a wave pushed out, there is a small window you have of I can do what I want because the enemy player has to stay and farm. And they took too long to do it, allowing their mid laner and top lane to both come, while Sejuani was later there, meaning that they lost the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good idea to get onto the Volibear. Orianna then just had ult and turned the fight around. That ult really powerful, really annoying. Looks like this Bard actually maybe getting caught by the Senna W, but it looks like he can just walk away from this. Now, this Orianna with 2 kills, going to be pretty strong. Probably going for the Ludens, I would say.
Drake here.
What is Sejuani maxing? Can I see that?
I think if you click on her...
Yeah, she's maxing W right now. She's maxing W.
I don't see why Team Hyperin doesn't take Drake here. You know that you made Bard reset, you saw how low the enemy jungle was, and you know that your full team has Prio in the mid lane.
Yeah, this Lucian now getting a little bit behind on the Orianna. We need to see him really do something to spice it up and get a little bit of an advantage. Otherwise, the Lucian pick is actually not really doing his purpose on the top lane. Absolutely nothing happened. These guys aren't going to kill each other anytime soon. Dragon picked up for Team Hyper Int here. That's the first Dragon. Mountain Soul going over to them.
I disagree with the thing you said about Lucian. If I know my bot lane is winning, I'm going to sit there and be like, guys, I'm a CS, you win the game for me. I'll get Prio for us when we need, and I'll just keep it simple mid lane. He's not so far behind that it's going to make a massive difference. So I think it's perfectly fine for him to just sit there and make sure Orianna doesn't get more kills.
Yeah, I will have to see how the Lucian plays these team fights later on. That's really important. Lucian is pretty hard to get consistent damage off with because you need to cancel your animations, know when to the E. Looks like the Ornn actually may be getting collapsed on by the Sejuani, but she does not have enough damage currently. Yeah, what I was saying, the Lucian is pretty hard to play in these teamfight situations, so we'll have to see what he can do.
There's one thing I want to note right now is, look at Bard, look at bot lane. Look at that wave that they've frozen. It's slow pushing back now, but because of how long Bard's staying there, look at what Jinx has to do. Jinx cannot play the game right now. It's Orianna or Bard, both, or like one of them needs to go bot lane to stop this from happening.
Yeah, the Jinx currently almost 1k behind on the Tam Kench.
Just look at the CS difference.
Yeah, oh, the Sejuani actually ulting the Ornn. Looks like the Ornn might have to flash out. He flashes out, gets out. Looks like the Ornn, however, is going to go down. And the Volibear maybe as well. He does not have flash, but he does have ult. The Lucian also ulting over the wall, but the Volibear just ults over that one and gets away.
right now we know that Team Hyper In got the kills mid lane. What I would say to Team Departure Esports is push mid lane and try and get tower plates if possible, while keeping your top side warded.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a little bit of a recap from last game. I mean, their bot lane from Team Hyperend just seem to be consistently getting these kills down the bot lane. Even though a laner is doing really well, in this case the Orianna, not the top laner, they can't seem to carry. The Jinx actually maybe getting collapsed on. I think the... Oh yeah, the Tahm Kench definitely looking for a meal here. He's gonna lick again, and lick again, giving it to the Senna, and it's a 3-0 Senna against a 0-3 is Jinx. This bot lane is going really, really abysmal.
I think the thing there is they know that their wave is pushing into them, because if you look at it, you just have to understand, we can't go to the wave right now. Let the wave come to us and we'll see what we can do.
Lucian and Diana actually maybe going on Orianna. She misses her ult and flashes a little bit too early. Diana maybe getting caught up by the Bard, but it doesn't seem like it. Both
Double
TPs.
TP coming out.
Yeah, both TPs from the Orianna and the Sejuani. Ornn goes in, gets countered by the Sejuani, but I don't think anyone is really dying here. Sejuani maybe going in again. The Sen and the Tahm Kench going back in with the ult. Ornn gets a good ult off, but it doesn't really seem like it's doing anything. And Team Departure Esports just getting absolutely dismantled under the tower.
Did you see the Tahm Kenchi save Diana there?
No, I didn't. I just I did see that this Senna has been landing some really consistent Ws. I'm not gonna lie.
I think they've actually just won bot lane from Senna's W's this game.
Yeah, I think they might have won the game just from this bot lane here. I mean, Lucian and Diana really good to set up that kill on the Orianna. But yeah, I mean, she doesn't miss one. I don't think I've actually seen her miss a W.
Take a look. She just hit another one.
Yeah, I mean, I have not seen her miss one. She's been pretty on point with that. I mean, I'm not 100% sure what you do in the Departure Esports. Again, they do have the easier comp, but just like game one, it just looks
they're just really far behind.
Oh right no, now. Jinx, you're not in
Jinx
the
is not having a fun game.
Yeah, gets bursted down by the Lucian. 2-1 on this Lucian now. Coach Kier messed up a little bit early game on the laning phase, but looks like he's going to be right on track. Or Sejuani has to ult the Bard to get away. Bard actually counter ults, and the Sejuani just has to flash away.
Team Hyper are finally doing the thing I said before. You know that you're not going to win bot lane, play around top side. You know that the Bard can roam and Tahm Kench can't, and Senna can't. They want to stay down bot lane, and they want to AFK farm. However, it's slightly too late now because of the switch from Senna Tahm Kench going to the mid
they
lane.
were looking for a tower dive on the Sejuani, but the Bard missing the Q, and then getting collapsed back on the Sejuani. I think they're just going for desperation plays here. The Jinx definitely misstepping. Lucian does not... He does have ult, but I think he's just dead here to the minions. Yeah, that looked a little bit weird. Senna Tahm Kench, however, maybe getting a return kill on this Ornn. Is she going to land another W?
Oh!
Yes, she is. Alright, Tahm Kench lick.
Too good.
And he's just going to give it to the Senna. That's a 4-0 Senna already with a Kraken Slayer at 14 minutes without farming. It's looking a little bit dire.
I've only got my MVP. It's Senna W.
How many souls? 65 souls at 14 minutes is actually really good. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, there's only one problem I have right now. Their top lane and Drake's up, and they already got the first Drake. I would 100% just say, go bot side, get Drake instead.
Looks like the Team Departure Esports actually heard you there, and they might be on Dragon, as it seems. Diana can't really do much. Oh,
please don't go for this play. Just go for Drake.
Yeah, I think the Jinx is back off here. She might be getting caught, but it looks like it's going to be Dragon. Ocean Dragon going over to Team Departure Esports here. The man should run away as well. I mean, they are still pretty behind.
There was no reason.
But
Team Hyper had no reason to give that up, though.
While they are still pretty behind, they do have a pretty good combo with the Orianna, the Volibear, the Ornn. The Jinx, of course, is pretty behind right now, but Jinx only needs one really good team fight to come back in the game. Now, this Orianna actually going for a Luden's Echo. I would have said that Leandro is actually the move this game.
Two massive tanks, I would agree.
Yeah. The Lucian just zoning the Jinx out from
Jinx really
farm.
needs to back off here.
Yeah, I mean, Jinx is just... She is not having fun this game. They're just taking Volibear's entire jungle here. Diana maybe getting caught. The Orianna ult is huge, but Senna lands another perfect W. Getting the Diana. Looks like everyone is getting killed around the map for Team Departure. The Volibear also getting caught. Ornn maybe also dead, but everyone just flashing away. Tahm Kench lick. Senna W landing again, and that's another kill for the Senna.
Okay, so what we understand is with Team Departure Esports, if we look at their comp, you have Jinx Ori, you Scale. You guys are almost 10k gold behind and you want to fight, which is not the choice. You want to try and stop the bleeding as much as possible. Hold on, give them as many Drakes as possible, save the base and see what you can do. That's
Yeah, I mean,
100% the game plan for them right now.
I agree, and Team Hyperend actually doing the right choice by not taking this on him. I mean, they're just so ahead here, and this Senna is just doing so much damage from the backline, and they can't really get her because of her huge range. I mean, this Jinx is so behind, even though they had a really good Ori ult, but maybe Volibear actually looking for something, charging in, but the Senna lands another W, and looks like the Volibear is going to go down. The Diana does not have Volt, or does she? No, it does. She does not have Volt. Orianna also doesn't have Volt, but the Bard gets a good stun off. The Senna getting a little bit low. The Orin going in on the Tam Kench, but Senna W again. Maybe they're gonna look for something, maybe return kill, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, I mean, this Senna is just playing out of her mind this game.
I'm not sure if it's her, it's just the W's. It's just straight up W's winning. I don't think she's missed one. I actually don't think she has.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have to say that if you're Team Departure Esports here, you just don't fight. You just
ban that ability.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, you just put your foot down and say, all right, guys, we need to just scale. You just farm. You do not fight. You don't need to fight for maybe the next 2 dragons. I would say you really don't need to fight.
100% not. 100%
Yeah,
not.
just scale up and then try to get a more favorable fight, because as it seems right now, if you die another time, I think that's Baron. And
100%. When Baron spawns, they can just do it.
yeah,
They're that far ahead.
I'm fairly certain they can end fairly soon if Team Departure Esports doesn't, slow it down a little bit. The one may be getting caught out by the Sejuani, but I think he's just gonna run away. Yeah,
he should be able to. It's almost 10k in 18 minutes. Like, this is something where it's going to be so hard to come back from them. But I believe in them. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Team Hyperend just playing really well as a team. Their synergy is really.
They're clearly just playing better than the enemy team right now.
Yeah, I mean,
there's not much more to say.
I wouldn't say either team has like tremendous players. It just seems that they're playing as a team really, really well. They know what they want to do. They know their game plan. They're executing it pretty well as well.
Look at the way they're moving around the map. They wanted to go for wards. Tam Ken should cover from the Senna and from the Diana, which you like to see.
Yeah, I mean, this Jinx, again, so behind compared to the Senna. Right now, 2k behind almost. And we have to, it's important to point out that the Senna is actually the support. Diana, misclick?
Cut the tape. We saw nothing, alright?
It was a misclick. I'll give it that.
Sorry, my eyes. I blinked, huh?
Yeah,
okay, back.
So, the rest of the people, yeah, this Diana is really ahead of the Volibear as well. And the Sejuani is also really ahead of the Orin. I mean, pretty much everyone is just ahead of their laner right now, making the game pretty hard for Team Departure Esports to play here. It looks like they kind of took our advice and are just playing a little bit slow, farming it up, getting the Jinx and the Orianna some items. And then we'll have to see if this Orianna...
It's what both teams really want, because there's no reason for Team Hyper to really. They just play slow. AFK, farm up, wait for objectives, take the objectives. They come for you, you just hard engage. You have the opportunity.
Caught here, but she does have flash and ult. Bard missing the ult there, maybe getting caught, but it looks like he's just going to be able to run away. Orianna does have some nice damage, so an Orianna ult can always turn the game. We'll see, we'll keep our eyes on her and see
Diana and Jinx?
Yeah, I mean, if Orianna can get a good ult, I think he can turn the game. But it has to be a really good ult.
I don't even believe that an amazing ult can save him from this. It would have to be the absolute most amazing wombo combo where you kill all 3 of their carries straight away.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I don't agree with. That they know they're going to do Dragon, and they're kind of just hovering Dragon even though they're not going to contest it. With a massive wave top, it looks like they're a little bit uncoordinated, to be honest.
Okay, can we look at the vision right now? There is no vision for the red team on Baron. What I would have done then is, if I knew that my team's like, guys, we're not fighting for this, I'd 100% go into the enemy jungle, or our side of the jungle, get vision for us, then we don't have to walk in here blind.
Looks like Baron is actually going to be started for Team Hyper, and I think we're just going to be able to take this. Team Departure Esports,
they have no vision.
Maybe looking to fight this. I don't
Wait, they
think
actually do
so.
have vision.
Oh my god, the Volibear actually jumping in with the ult and stealing it with the smite. Diana's mad though, she's going in here. Gets caught out by the Orianna ult, but they need to run. Because the Sana Tam Kench is right behind them. Orianna getting caught out by the Tam Kench and the Sejuani. But the rest of team, the Parts Esports, actually managing to run away. And the Volibear steering Baron there. I think the Volibear stealing Baron there was extremely good. Orianna, however, I don't think she really needed to die.
Okay, so in that team fight, Jinx was nowhere to be seen. She was AFK in the bot lane, getting her CS like she wanted, and then Volibear stole. I completely just think leave Volibear to do his thing, then just get out. They are so lucky that their Volibear just gave them a lifeline. If it was not for him, the game would be over right now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that them getting Baron extended the period of time that they have until, they have a decisive fight. However, I do agree with you. I think just leave the Volibear to do his thing. Maybe the Orianna stays there just for protection. And then just run. Everyone run. If the Volibear dies, whatever, he got Baron, that's all you want. But
By the way, can we quickly take a look at recall timers? Like you said about how Team Hyper Int seems to be playing as a team, all of them recalling at the same time. I like to see all of them stocked up themselves on control wards. Well, okay. 3 of them did. Still good enough. They're going into the enemy team. They're probably going to try and take over Vision again and see what they can do.
yeah, I would want to see. I mean, with this Baron, I don't think they can't really get much because they can't really
It's more
side lane.
defensive.
But it does help them stall for time. Now, this Senna currently on 111 souls. She's pretty big right now. Her range will be pretty massive. We'll have to see how they actually manage to get on this Senna.
How many souls does she have?
115 last time I checked.
Okay, she's a good champion, just like I said.
I mean, she's 6-0. I think most champions at 6-0 are good.
Most champions are pretty good then. I would agree.
Now, I mean, the thing about Jinx is, even though she's behind right now, Jinx only really needs one really good team fight to get back into the game. I really hope she can get it. For now, the game pretty quiet as Team Departure Esports just seems to want to farm up and look for a turnaround. Team Hyperint, however, doesn't really want to let them do that. Going through their jungle, getting absolute control over topside. Diana maybe looking for an engage here. But the Bard actually getting a 3-man ult. The Orianna is nowhere near. She doesn't have... Oh my god, can they get the one more combo? Oh my god, the Tam Kench actually saved the Senna there by flashing over. The Bard actually dying here. Jinx ult goes over, but they can't get the Senna. Jinx doing some massive damage, but that was such a good Sejuani ult. Jinx maybe going down here, flashes away from the Sejuani. Looks like they are just going to disengage. What seemed like a really, really good fight for Team Departure Esports ends up being a 2-for-1 in the favor of Team Hyperint. Jinx, however, following this Sejuani, maybe getting another kill. That's 2 kills right there. That's actually a 2-for-2 now for Team Departure Esports, and that fight was extremely well played.
Okay, there's 2 ways to think about that fight. One, amazing wombo combo. They got a 3-man
and Sejuani
Oreo
actually
into...
gets the Lucian there.
Well played. I mean, the thing to think about that fight is 2 things. One, you're 10k gold ahead. You know if you don't get a perfect fight, the game is over. You want to scale more, but you know your Baron's coming to an end, so it's understandable that they were looking for a fight then. They could have lasted longer and maybe made the gold gap shorter, but I'm not sure if the fight was a good choice or not.
I think it's actually a good fight because whenever you have Orianna and the Volibear, I think fighting in tight corners like that is really good because...
it just feels too risky.
Yeah, I think they just kind of went for desperation play and it worked out in their favor. Actually, the Tam Kench playing really well, eating the Senna just in time and then managing to spit her out before they...
Did Senna survive?
Yeah, the Senna did survive. Tam
Damn, well played.
Tam Kench played really well, swallowing the Senna before she could take any damage. She was really low, but she did manage to survive with her ult and Q. Yes, the Toad is fully unloaded.
Hey.
Thomas Kench at full steam.
See, you know how I said before about how the Senna W's are the MVPs? Hey, Tam Kench is making a name for himself for me, you know? He's making it a maybe.
Yeah, now...
Did you see what Tam Kench just did? He stood in the way of the ult. He made sure that the Jinx ult couldn't stop it, because it deals about 2k damage.
Yeah, Jinx was really, really good at stealing objectives. Some would say a little bit broken, and yeah, I would be one of those.
It is.
Jesus, the center range is huge. I would also have to point out that this was soul point for Team Hyperint. Maybe getting the Inferno Soul. If they do, it's going to be a lot of damage on the side of the Senna. The Diana we're gonna have to see. The thing is, as the game goes longer, Lucian doesn't become as good, but Senna never stops killing pretty much. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
harder and harder for them to catch up to her. We're gonna have to see if they can get another wombo combo like that off.
I would agree. As we can see, Baron is spawning soon, and I'm hoping that Team Hyper In puts all their wards there, which it looks like they're going to.
Yeah, they're warding up the top side next to Baron. It looks like they want to do it on spawn. The question is, does Team Departure Esports fight it or do they leave it? Personally,
I am so... Okay, I'm sorry, but Team Departure Esports, I'm disappointed what they're doing right now. Jinx reset as her full team was going to the enemy jungle. The reason this is so terrible right now is that if they got collapsed on right there or found a good pick, they couldn't do it because Jinx wasn't there. They need to go as a collective, as a whole.
yeah, one thing to point out as well, both teams have really good pick setup. You have the Sejuani ult on the side of Team Hyper, and you have the Orianna ult on the side of Team Departure Esports. And it looks like they're actually going to fight this Baron. Orianna, however, in a pretty bad spot. She's pretty far away.
She went for blue buff.
Yeah, she went for blue buff. She does have TP. Maybe she should have TP'd a little bit sooner. Bard getting a stun on the Sejuani and the Bard and the Tom Kench. Looks like they're actually going to stop this Baron. They don't want to flip it.
If they poke him out, they win the team fight. I'm expecting Orianna and Bard right now to see what they can do.
Yeah,
But the wombo combo needs to come through right now.
yeah, they did stop them from doing the Barons. I mean, that's something. We're
It
gonna
was
have
well
to
played.
see. Oh, the Bard actually missing ult on the Senna. That's a really big cooldown. They need to back off until it's back up.
It's only about... it's about 60 seconds right now.
However, that is a minute. Looks like Team Hyper is actually back on the Baron, I believe. Oh no, they're just clearing vision. Yeah, this game getting a little bit more complicated as it goes. Again, the Senna getting a really, really long range slowly. However, this Orianna is pretty big right now with the Ludens upgraded from the Ornn item and the Seraphs. The Jinx slowly starting to get some damage. It looks like Team Hyper and actually going for the
Starting
Baron
Baron.
after all. Yeah, the
Look at where
Volibear.
Volibear
Yeah,
is.
Volibear is on the bot side. He probably got spotted on the ward. Maybe Bard can steal it, but I really doubt it. Yeah.
No, it was... I would have to say it was just... Volibear should not have been bot side right there.
Yeah, there's no way Volibear needs to be bot side when Baron is up like that. That was a really big int. I think they could have actually just stopped them from doing it again. And now they pretty much gave Baron for free, which is pretty bad.
One thing I got to ask is, with a thing where a fight could break out any second, would you send Orianna or on bot side? Or would
Well-
you just leave it how it is?
I think I could send them bot side because they both have TP, but definitely not the Volibear.
That's the thing, because if they started a fight straight away, then the TP would be too late for it.
Well, we would just have to see how well they can stall and how quick the Orianna or the Ornn can TP. Thomas Kench here walking pretty much freely into their jungle. He's really
He's a
tanky.
Chad right now. He does not care. Nothing
He's-
can one-shot him.
Pretty much, he's so tanky. I mean, the only way I see Team Departure Esports here winning is if they get a really, really good wombo combo and just somehow manage to one-shot the Senna before she gets eaten by the frog.
Look how close Jinx is to her next item. If Jinx gets 3 items, she can be a monster in a team fight if she gets a reset.
Yes, the Jinx slowly starting to get a lot of items, but I think that by the time that she finishes her items, the Senna will actually still outrange her. Even
Oh,
though,
no. Senna's always going to outrange her now.
yeah, she has currently 143 souls. Jesus, that is a lot. The Senna a huge threat now. I think I would actually want to see maybe the Orianna or the Jinx topside. There is a pretty big wave.
They would have to... I would disagree right now because Drake's up in 30 seconds.
Oh, looks like they are moving as far towards the dragon. This is one already there. They're just clearing vision pretty much right now. This is pretty hard to walk
Okay.
in.
This is the best chance that Team Departure Esports has. Jinx has 3 items, Orianna has 3 items.
Oh,
Good
the Ornn
luck.
actually getting
Bard,
one getting cut out. The Bard ults the Tom Kench alone. That's Bard ult gone. I'm surprised to see what they're gonna do. Ornn uses ult here. Dan actually goes in and gets a really good ult there. The Orianna has to use Zhonya's and the Jinx all alone in the back line. Maybe she can get some damage down. The Volibear pretty much gets executed, and it looks like this is gonna be a game. The Lucian following the Bard gets stunned, but still manages to throw out the 2 auto attacks there. Jinx falls as well, and now it's all for the Orianna. 1v5 for the Orianna. I don't think it's really gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, the Dyna got a really, really good engage there, catching so many members of Team Departure Esports, and then, I mean, Thomas Kench's is just so unbelievably tanky.
Hey, and you wanted me to play that, champ? Hell no.
I do.
Oh, feels bad, man. I mean, overall, I would just have to say, well played from Team Hyperint. They had a simple lead from bot lane. They were able to bring it all the way through. There's a few times here or there where they didn't play perfectly around objectives, but I would mostly have to say that they played it well.
Definitely. Who would you say is the MVP for this game and the MVP for the series?
Okay, it's hard to think about it all the way through because at the start I'd 100% say Senna's MVP, no doubt about it. However, by the end of it, by how much Tam Kench was doing to keep people alive, I would have to give it to Tam Kench.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Tam Kench saving the Senna so many times in so many important spots. Definitely think he is the MVP this game. As for the whole series, I think I'm actually going to give it to the jungler of Team Hyper, and he played both games really well, in my opinion.
Um, Second game, I don't remember any massively outstanding moments. However, he did play with his team well and made sure that where people got leads, he kept it. So I would agree that their jungle got MVP overall for both games.
And as for the ace of this game, the MVP for the losing team, I would give it to the Orianna. I think she played really well. Unfortunately, the bot lane got, they messed up down bot lane a little bit too early.
I would be honest, Oriana, she didn't do anything massively outstanding except for that great shockwave in that one fight. However, I cannot say that she was a main reason their team lost. I think that she did her part that she needed to, and that's the reason I would agree with you.
Yeah, that seems to be it. Team Hyper Int takes down Team Departure Esports 2-0 in the Ocean League. Honestly, they were pretty good games, even though this one definitely a little bit one-sided. And the other one also a little bit one-sided. Looks like Team Hyper Int is definitely a team to be respected and feared. Do you think
I mean,
they can hold up against Prisma?
yeah, of course, yeah. I'm not going to joke around. I think they'll be fine against us. I mean, their bot lane, from what I've seen so far, is going to be fun to go against them. Any bot lane, that wins their lane consistently is always going to be fun. I think you mid lane are probably going to get shit on by theirs. My apologies for swearing. So, yeah, I think they have a decent chance against us.
I don't think I'm going to lose against this guy.
Don't you?
I don't think so.
Nah. Well, our top laner will carry us. We'll be okay.
All right, and that seems to be the games for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for Zatos for helping me out at the cast today. I'm sorry for the little bit of inconsistencies and some bugs here and there. This is my first time streaming from the setup. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you next time.
See ya.